The entire nest is under this ground structure. Whoa, look at that. Ah! You can see the swarm is pretty intense at this point. Ow! I have a feeling this is probably going to be a little painful. I'm Coyote Peterson, and I'm about to enter the angry yellow jacket box. Ah! Oh! You guys are gonna have to run because these things are gonna be swarming everywhere. Ah! Ah! Bad idea, bad idea. Here's a question for you. Have you ever been swarmed by YellowJackets? YellowJackets build their nests underneath the surface of the earth. And if you stumble upon them, especially in the fall, they will swarm out and sting you multiple times. Now, one difficult thing is how do you ever know where a YellowJacket nest is going to be? You don't until now. Let me show you this. You see that little pink flag and that stake going down into the ground? That is a massive YellowJacket nest. And today we're going to figure out 3 different things about these stinging insects. Number 1, can they sting through a bee suit? We're going to do this as a test to figure out whether or not just these little guys can get through a bee suit before I try this against giant hornets. Number 2, how far do you need to walk from a swarming YellowJacket nest before they'll stop following you? And number 3, are they still angry even after they've been taken away from their nest, put inside of a plastic box, and then your hand goes inside the box? And I'm sure you're saying, wait, whoa, 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 Coyote, did you just say a box filled with YellowJackets and your hand's going inside the box? Yeah, guys, that is exactly what we're getting ourselves into today. But first, we gotta test out the bee suit theory. Let's get dressed up, see what happens when we disturb an entire nest of YellowJackets. About a year back, we filmed an episode called The Bullet Ant Box, which essentially we have made an advanced version of today. Now we're gonna catch the YellowJackets. You see it's got this little slide trap door there. The way that we're gonna catch them is I'm gonna go in without disturbing the nest, place this right over the top, and once the nest is disturbed, dozens of them will fly up and into the box. Whoa, look at that. Wow, okay, yeah, we're definitely getting swarmed at this point, so I think that's enough for the box itself. Let me go ahead and close this up. Ah! Yeah, that's an entire box of YellowJackets. Okay, you can see the swarm is pretty intense at this point. Ow! God, just got stuck on my hand for sure. Look at the GoPro. The GoPro is completely swarmed. YellowJacket chaos. We've got our box of YellowJackets. Now we are just a few yards away from the nest. Oh, ow! Oh, man, definitely getting through the suit. They're definitely getting through the suit. Okay. Ow! All right, come on, let's walk back slowly this direction. Moving slowly, you can see they are definitely still following. Are you getting stung?
I got 1 sting on the finger and it definitely is throbbing.
I got 2 stings on the legs so far. They're still swarming around the GoPro. All right, we are about 40 yards away from the nest at this point. Wow, they are still super angry. Oh, go get stung in the back. We're gonna go down this bridge up here. Ah! 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 We're now about 150 yards away from the nest, and I do not see them swarming around us much anymore. Do you?
No.
Are they all around me?
No, I don't see any around you at all, actually.
So what YellowJackets will ultimately do is attack any potential aggressor to their home. Follow and sting, follow and sting. Oh. Now we're gonna place my naked hand inside of the box to determine, are they still angry at me? Am I gonna get stung? I have a feeling that this is gonna be pretty extreme. Well, we have made it to the 3rd part of today's experiment. Here's what we've learned so far. Number 1, YellowJackets can definitely sting through a bee suit because I took close to 20 hits. We also learned that once you disturb an angry YellowJacket nest, it will follow you for at least 150 yards. Now the 3rd part, definitely the most entertaining part, is going to be the angry YellowJacket box. We have around 100 of these stinging insects inside of this contraption. What I'm going to do is remove the trap door, and my naked arm is going to go inside of the box. The real question is, after 15 minutes of being taken from their nest, are they still angry? Are they still gonna sting? Or are they just gonna crawl around on me? I have a feeling that this is probably going to be a little painful. So here we go. I'm Coyote Peterson, and I'm about to enter the angry yellow jacket box. 1, 2, 3. Here we go. Ow, ow, ow! Definitely just getting stung immediately. Ah! 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 Yep, a lot of stings really quickly. All right, guys, I'm not gonna be able to keep my hand in here very long. Oh! Okay, my hand's gotta come out. Hand's gotta come out. You guys are gonna have to run because these things are gonna be swarming
here,
everywhere.
let's put the door back in.
Okay, the door. Help, help, help.
Got it? Here.
Okay, this was a bad idea. Bad idea. Put the door in. Right there. There. No, it's not in the slot. Right there. Okay, put in. Oh man. Okay, abandoned ship. Ow! Ah! You know what they say? Play stupid games, win stupid prizes. Oh yeah, they're still really angry. Oh my gosh, I took a lot of stings. Ah!
Woo! Man, box worked. Got stung. Let me just try to come up here a little bit. All right, I'm gonna run down and capture him. I think his hand was in there for maybe what, 10 seconds, if that?
Oh my gosh. Holy cow, my arm is on fire right now. I'm getting like an instantaneous headache too. Okay, so the second my pointer finger entered into there, they started swarming up the sleeve and stinging me again and again and again. And so that a gazillion of them didn't get out and all over the crew, I had to keep my arm in there while we tried to slide the back side of the box in. I was just panicked. I didn't know what to do. That was super intense and very painful very quickly. There's a lot of stings really quickly. I mean, a lot of stings. Oh my gosh. Oh, don't.
I'm gonna just, it's
I thought you were gonna squeeze it into my hand.
No, let me just put this little guy on there. He no hard feelings.
Ugh.
No hard feelings.
Ugh. Oh my gosh, my hand is throbbing. All right, hold on, I gotta get, he's probably knows there's pheromones on me. Oh my God. Oh my God. Dude, it is really bad. It is really bad.
You have stink kill?
Yeah, I do have stink kill.
You want some water?
I just need to breathe for a second, man. It's freaking really painful. Like, insanely painful. Like, it's like escalating to, like, we're getting into like giant hornet territory here. Oh my God. Dude, look how fat my fingers and hand are getting.
Turn it around, inspect it.
Okay.
Let me see the ones on the top of your wrist. But stay still.
I'm trying, dude. This was such a bad idea. I don't know what I was thinking. This was a terrible idea. Oh, we should have stopped at the bee soup. This is absolute agony. This is insane. Like, we are approaching giant hornet pain territory with this amount of venom being pumped into my arm. Like, I'm like losing my mind right now. Oh!
Blame it on the algorithm.
Oh, hey, how's it going, guys? There's an old saying that my boss used to tell me. Number one, if you're gonna be stupid, you gotta be tough. And number two, never put your hand in a box full of angry hornets. Or in this case, YellowJackets.
So here's when I knew things were going completely wrong. The second I pulled open the gate and the YellowJackets immediately went after my hand and started stinging and biting my fingers. I couldn't even get my hand all the way into the box before I needed to pretty much tap out. I was like, I gotta stop. At one point, I just almost like whited it out and I was like, this is too much. What's happening to me? So do I think YellowJackets are out to get people? No, absolutely not. And the reason yellow jackets and hornets are this aggressive this time of the year is because they're no longer feeding their young and they're getting to the end of their life cycle. They're grumpy, and if you disturb their nest, like you saw happen here today with me, you're going to pay the wrath. I cannot explain to you in words how painful the swelling and the throbbing in my arm is right now, but it is intense. So whatever you do, if you stumble across one of these nests and disturb it, run. Get yourself as far away as you possibly can, and hopefully you will withstand the stings. If you feel that your body is having a negative allergic reaction, seek medical attention as quickly as you possibly can. And please, 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 as we always stress on Brave Wilderness, do not repeat the things that you see me doing here on the channel. This was ridiculously foolish. That was without question one of the worst nights sleep I have ever had. The pain and now the itching that came with the angry yellow jacket box is just unbearable. I'd managed to doze off for about 10 or 15 minutes, and then I wake up in agony, and around 2 a.m. the itching started, and I didn't even know how to itch it. I try to just do it really lightly because it hurts when I do itch it. My hand is absolutely enormous. You can see how swollen and puffy it is. Ugh, angry yellow jacket box. Stupidest idea I've ever come up with. It is early morning, and it is very similar to the conditions we had the other day when we visited this mechanic's property and unfortunately came across a dead black mamba. We've gotten a call, he has seen another mamba. So we are in fast pursuit to get out to this property as fast as we can so that the snake doesn't either A, kill another dog or get killed itself. Black mambas get a bad reputation as a snake species that will actually chase after you. That is never going to be the case with any animal. They're always going to choose flight before fight. But most importantly, we need to keep ourselves safe because a bite from one of these animals is a medical emergency.
Nothing comes close to the black mamba just due to its size and just the immense speed of these snakes. So yeah, we're going to try to avoid as much as possible having this human-mamba conflict, especially with the guys' dogs and cats. So we're going to try to get rid of this mamba and relocate it.
So right now Tyrone is just flipping every piece of flat material that he can find anywhere this time of day that would be perfect for snakes to be hiding. Creepy abandoned building. Nest full of wasps. We're gonna keep moving.
This is probably a needle in a haystack. Look at this. Especially a snake that's grayish black in color. Talk about crazy camo if there was a mamba in here.
Well, get on in there. Let's find that snake. Well, we've been searching for about 25 minutes now. I've not seen any snakes. Seen a lot of other things. And it's usually when you're looking for a snake that you don't find a snake. They always surprise you. Ooh, that is creepy. Oh, it's like a rodent superhighway back there. I don't know if you can see that.
We got a snake!
A snake? Where?
Yeah, we got a snake.
Is it a mamba?
It's a mamba. We got a black mamba. He's just under this little piece of tile.
Snake! Hey, there's a yellow snake.
What?
There's a yellow snake. Hey!
You got a snake? Is it the mamba?
I think it's a mamba, man.
Really, really, really? Where? Oh man, in here? You saw it?
Yeah, he's under there. He looks like a pretty big mamba.
It is a mamba.
It's definitely a mamba.
Shoot, I hope there's no hole back there. I don't see anything. Yes, I do. I see snake. Definitely see a snake back there. Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Dude, I think it's a mamba. It's grayish in coloration. All right, mamba madness at its finest right here.
That's a mamba.
That is definitely a mamba. Tyrone, what is the play?
Cool, so we're gonna just move some of the stuff that's sitting on top here. I'm gonna get a tongue on the snake. We're gonna get sort of about 50, 60 centimeters behind the head. And then we're gonna try to get another tongue on the snake just to secure it so the snake starts wiggling around, doesn't put any of us in danger.
Okay.
Yeah, so we're just gonna safely secure the snake, and we're gonna go from there. We're just gonna have to be really agile. These snakes are really unpredictable, super defensive, so we just gotta be on high alert, because this is top tier, the most dangerous snake in the country here.
Okay, this is worst case scenario because it's pinned into a corner.
Yeah.
The safest scenario for myself, the crew, and certainly the snake is gonna be to get it inside one of these tubes so we have control of the head. All right, I'm here on your command, so you let me know what you need me to do.
Cool, so we're just gonna get on right to it now. We're gonna move some of this shrapnel out the way. Yeah, you can see the big coil of the snakes right coming out the back there. We've got a big, big mamba.
Oh man, yeah.
Cool, we're going in hot.
You want me to lift it? Lift it?
Let's lift. Yeah, we got a black mamba.
Jeez.
Okay, I'm gonna grab it, tongs on the snake. You can see he's popping up his neck there slightly, it's a little narrow hood. One tongue is secure. We're gonna grab the secondary part of the snake here.
Whoa, whoa, whoa.
Cool, the snake is secure. I'm coming out in the open area here.
Wow.
Cool.
That is a big snake. Okay, so you want me to get the tubes?
Yeah, let's get the tubes going.
Okay, what do you think? Largest tube?
Yeah, let's go with the largest tube. We're just gently restraining the snake. We don't want to put too much pressure on him. Get his head in there. Okay, he's going, he's going. Let him go a little bit more. He's gonna reverse. Okay, do you want to grab it? Are you comfortable grabbing that? Just put him all the way up there. Let me know as soon as you're comfortable.
Yeah, I got a little, not comfortable yet.
Yeah, I've still got the tongs on it, they're safe.
Okay.
And yeah, I want you to just put that back hand, so like completely holding the tube and that snake, so he's not gonna reverse, because he is gonna pull back.
He is gonna pull back, okay. And you don't think he can get out from there?
No, as long as you've got a good grip on him. Tell me when you're comfortable, I'm gonna release the tongs.
Okay, go ahead and release the tongs. This is a nerve-wracking moment.
Okay, and you remember, he may try reverse, so if he does, just hold him quite in place there.
Okay.
You got him.
Okay. Can I work him up a little bit further?
Yeah, you can work him out a little bit further. Good work.
Oh, my hands are shaking at the moment. Wow, that is a very strong snake. Okay, well, watch your face there, sorry. There we have it. That is a black mamba, safely tubed. Rather intense situation, but that went pretty smoothly.
That's how we do it. We work safely.
I catch my breath for a minute. My heart is racing. Okay, so the snake is staying pretty calm now. Let's go out of this enclosure and get ourselves in a spot that's a little more open. If for any reason I have to drop the snake and it comes out of the tube, we're in really close quarters. So let's slowly move out. You guys move first. I'm gonna take it really, really slow. I got a really good grip. Tyrone, you wanna check my grip on the snake? You think that's
Yeah, we're good there. And let's
solid.
just angle it a little bit up, just in case he shoots out. You got it. Yeah, you got a good grip. Yeah, just you want to secure the tail there. You're good, Code.
Yeah, man, this snake is insanely strong. Whoa, man, it is intimidating to hold one of these snakes. Right now, just trying to calm my heart rate. There it is, the notorious black mamba. It's almost tough to put into words what it's like to hold on to a black mamba. This is a species that I have just read about for most of my life, always hoping that I would see one in the wild and not actually be hands-on with one, the most dangerous snake species I have ever physically interacted with. It is definitely a heart-racing encounter. Now, the black mamba, of course, gets its name from the black interior coloration of the mouth. And if I turn it like this and it opens up its mouth, we'll be able to get a really cool shot of that. The reason a bite from this snake is so potentially dangerous is because it is armed with a highly toxic, neurotoxic venom. If you're bitten by this snake, it begins to send your body into paralysis, which shuts down your major organs. So when your lungs, your liver, your kidneys, and ultimately your heart begin to cease working, that's why a bite is so dangerous. Essentially, you just straight up go into paralysis and die. If you were ever bitten by a snake like this, it is an immediate medical emergency. The big issue that we're looking at here today is the human-wildlife conflict. And people are terrified of the black mamba. Obviously, it has a negative reputation, but this is not a snake that is interested in interacting with humans. A dog was bitten. Unfortunately, that dog passed away, and the snake was killed in the process. You have that constantly happening out here, especially in rural areas. But these snakes are not to blame. We are in an area that is perfectly set up for snakes to be hunting for their food. You've got abandoned structures, you've got bags of garbage that has everything that would draw in rodents. Where you have rodents, you're going going to have the reptiles that eat them. So the more you can do in your own yard to clean up the trash and make sure that you're not drawing in the prey items for these snakes, the less of your chance of actually seeing one of these snakes and ultimately interacting with it. So the last aspect to today's snake rescue is to actually relocate this snake to a place that's far away from human habitation. That will give the better chances for this snake to live out the length of its life, and of course will keep the dogs and the humans in this area completely safe. Now, is this a resident mamba that we were told about? It's possible, it is pretty sizable, but when you live in an area like this, there's always going to be another snake. So you can see why the work that Tyrone does is so incredibly important here in South Africa. And a big thanks to him for taking us out on this rescue mission. I feel completely fulfilled in that we have finally found one of these snakes that we're able to rescue. It didn't lose its life, and we're doing a good thing for the environment by getting this predator back out to where it belongs. Okay, we found a pretty cool spot to release the mamba. We are way back off some dirt road, and we have found beautiful dry riverbed. It is just perfect mamba habitat. Grasses, trees, likely a lot of food. So we're gonna get the snake out, and this is another success story for Tyrone in successfully rescuing and relocating a venomous snake.
Arachnophobia. It's one of the most commonplace fears in the world, and is simply defined as an intense, irrational fear of spiders. Now, for anyone that suffers this phobia, the term irrational is pretty much irrelevant, because even the tiniest spider can easily seem the size of a dinosaur. Experts say the best way to get over your fear of something is exposure therapy. In the case of spiders, it would be looking at pictures, or even the arachnids themselves. Well, I've decided to take the concept of exposure therapy to the next level. They say, go big or go home. I say, if you can't go all the way, there's no point in even beginning. Spiders. They proudly hail as one of our planet's most feared, yet most misunderstood species. Now, a large percentage of you out there watching right now likely have arachnophobia. Now, when it comes to spiders, I've worked with many species in the past, including tarantulas, black widows, and even this species that you see right here, the giant golden orb weaver. Now, in the past, I actually free-handled the spider to prove that these giants aren't necessarily out to get you, and if you accidentally run into one in the wild, you aren't necessarily going to be bitten. Now, today what we're going to do is create the ultimate arachnophobic nightmare scenario. We've built what I call the spider helmet, which is a clear plastic capsule that will go over the top of my head. And inside, we're going to place not one, but 20 giant golden orb weaver spiders. Now, it's important to note that all spiders have fangs, all spiders are venomous, and all spiders are capable of biting. Once the capsule is in place and it's locked, I won't have any use of my hands, which means that I will not be in control. That ultimately means that anything is possible. And if I'm bitten, I'm not going to be able to stop the bites from coming.
Okay, this is it. The moment you have been waiting for. The reason you clicked on this video. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Coyote Peterson, and this is the spider helmet. I need to try to keep my heart rate as low as I possibly can and talk as little as possible so that I'm not steaming up the box.
All right, are you ready?
I think I'm ready.
All right.
Wait. You've got all the spiders?
They're ready to go.
They're ready to go.
I gotta go.
Okay, how many do we have in there?
A lot.
A lot. Yeah, of course it's a lot.
Now, before we get into the entertainment side of things, first we need to give you an education about this super cool creepy crawly. Commonly known as the golden silk orb weaver, its namesake originates from the golden color of its extremely strong web, which helps to draw in and entangle a variety of victims. Some reports even document these giants eating small birds. Yep, you heard me right, a spider so big it can eat birds. And is considered one of the most widespread spider species. They commonly inhabit tropical regions and love the same beautiful vacation spots you likely dream of visiting. Females are significantly larger than males and can reach several inches in length, the perfect size for spindly drumming up nightmares. But it's only fair to mention that they are not aggressive toward humans, and their venom is very mild. So unless you plan on running face first into their webs, or sticking your head in a box full of them, realistically, you should have nothing to fear.
All right, are you ready?
I think I'm ready.
All right. Okay, they're crawling all over. Nice and gentle. Nice and gentle. We got some webbing already.
Oh my gosh, this is the craziest feeling ever.
You all right? Okay.
Please don't bite me, please don't bite me.
Go.
Okay.
Stage is set.
Okay. My goal is to try to stay in here for several minutes. And I'm opening my eyes. Oh wow, that is about as creepy a feeling as it gets. I can feel all of those hooked legs crawling all over me. Okay, I see the spiders are completely surrounding my face at this point. Okay, they are crawling up the back of my head right now. Those little legs are really sharp. Okay, I've got one coming right up over the top of my head now. I imagine if you're still watching this video at this point, you are in a state where your skin is absolutely crawling. You can only imagine how I feel right now. Oh boy. Now what's crazy about the golden orb weavers, they spin these incredibly strong webs, and I can actually feel the webbing is now all entangling the back of my head. I got a spider right in my face. It's walking right up the side of my face. It is so hard to not try to swat at my face. See this? I want to do this. I want to shoo them away from me, but I can do absolutely nothing at this point other than to try to stay completely still. If you think sticking my hands into an aquarium full of piranhas or sea lamprey was creepy, this definitely is the next level. Well, my head has been encapsulated by the spider helmet now for several minutes. And at this point, I haven't taken a single bite. I hope that this extreme arachnophobic experiment has helped display that spiders, while creepy, aren't necessarily aggressive toward humans. If you come across a spider in your near future, stay calm, simply walk in the opposite direction, and both you and the spider will carry on a happy existence. I bet you clicked on this video because immediately you thought, there is no way Coyote Peterson is going this far to teach us about animals. Sure, I've done some pretty crazy things over the years, but the Coyote Pack knows I perform these stunts because they're an entertaining way to learn about the animals we don't understand. Spiders are amazing creatures. Let them do what they do, and I promise the natural world will be a better place. I know that by wearing a spider helmet, I'm not going to be the silver bullet that cures your fear of spiders. But if you have arachnophobia and you bravely watch this video, then you have taken a huge step by embracing exposure therapy. And for that, I am proud of you.
I'm on Australia's Sunshine Coast, and I'll be interviewing Gila, a woman who knows firsthand the dangers of interacting with a venomous snake. She's a bite victim survivor who nearly lost her life, and today, she's going to be sharing her incredible story. Now, what Lila doesn't know is that we're also going to be getting her face-to-face with a deadly snake whose venom, believe it or not, ultimately saved her life. For you, this all began in 1974, the day it all happened when you were bitten by a venomous snake. Can you take us back to that morning when you were heading out to the barn, you had farm animals, and you were barefoot? Like a lot of people in Australia walk around barefoot, and you found yourself in the worst case scenario. Take us to that morning and tell us the story.
Well, it happened in the afternoon, late afternoon, almost on dark. And I had a goat, and I was putting the goat under the house.
I mean, what goat wouldn't want to live underneath a house?
So yeah, I was happily putting her under the house. I had a baby and a 2-year-old inside, and I felt this like a pins and needles feeling, like pins and needles in my foot. And so I went inside, and I thought straight away that I definitely had been bitten by a snake or a spider. I wasn't sure what. The poison immediately went straight up to my head.
Really?
So I got a migraine headache. I've never had a migraine headache in my life. So I had this migraine headache, and straight away I started to vomit. So I got the bucket, and I'm leaning over the bucket vomiting and thinking, oh God, I need help, I need help. So I put my baby and my 2-year-old and myself in the car with the bucket so I could keep vomiting in the bucket and go to the neighbours. And then the neighbour takes me straight to the Southport Hospital. And at the Southport Hospital, the doctor thought reckon I was a hippie and I was on drugs and I didn't know what I was talking about.
That's an unfair judgment.
Very unfair. And gave me a blood test and left me all night with no antivenin, no nothing. And I was yelling out for help because I was getting feverish and I knew they weren't doing anything for me, and I was screaming out for help. I want my acupuncturist to come to the hospital.
An acupuncturist in the 70s?
Yeah, and the acupuncturist actually made it up to the hospital. He heard somehow on the grapevine.
Certainly no text messaging back then.
No mobile phones back then. He came up to the hospital and he felt, because acupuncturists, they go on your pulse, everything's on your pulse. He felt my pulse and he felt every muscle fighting the venom.
Wow.
And the next morning, I had fallen into a coma and every muscle had collapsed and I couldn't breathe. And so they found the venom in my blood test, and then they gave me the antivenin, but it wasn't, I couldn't breathe at this stage.
Yeah.
So they had to put me into an ambulance and race me to intensive care in Brisbane, which was about 100 kilometres. And so I was on oxygen in the ambulance. Just as they got to the hospital, they ran out of oxygen, I died. They raced me up.
Hold on, you died?
I died, my heart stopped beating, they raced me up to intensive care and they got me going, they got me breathing.
How did they get you breathing? Did they have to put a tube down into your
They had to put
lungs?
tubes all over me
Okay.
and in my mouth, and they leave the tubes in your mouth for 5 days, and after 5 days they have to do tracheotomy because it can get infected.
Yeah.
So they had to do a tracheotomy where they open up your throat and they put a machine into your throat, a tube, and the machine is actually breathing for you because you cannot breathe on your own.
So a lot of the snakes in Australia have a neurotoxic venom, which ultimately can cause your internal system to go into a state of paralysis and collapse. And it sounds like that's exactly
and
what happened to
I
you.
had big hematomas in my groins, which are big black bruises.
Yeah.
Which are hematomas are internal bleeding. So I had internal bleeding, and I was in the coma for 6 days.
Wow.
And then after that I regained my consciousness.
So the moment that you came back, let's call this day 7 into your ordeal, do you remember waking up out of this coma?
I do, and I remember thinking to myself, this is a dream.
Really?
I'm having a dream. This can't be real. This can't be real.
So once you'd woken up out of the coma, like, were you just kind of like a cucumber there in your bed? Like at that point, your muscles had gained no control
I had no
back?
strength. I had no strength. They sat me up, and I just fell back down again. I had no strength at all.
It must have been so scary.
It was a slow process of my muscles building back up.
So you're in the coma, you come out of it, and I imagine your first question to the doctors would be, do we know what kind of snake bit me? Do you know at this point which species it was?
I don't know if I knew at that point, but David Flay from Fauna and Flora Reserve in Burleigh Heads, who had it for many, many years on the Gold Coast, he was an expert on snakes, and he diagnosed the snake as a rough-scaled snake.
Ooh, yeah, no, rough-scaled snake. I mean, that aligns with the symptoms that you had from the venom. And here's the thing about a rough-scaled snake, very unassuming looking snake. Small head, small mouth, so I could see if you got a bite from that snake, fast striking and very, very small fangs, but very potent venom. So Leela, after you get out of the hospital and you're back home, between 1974 and now, do you have any long-lasting symptoms? You do?
Yes, I don't have any reserves. So if I go downhill, I can't pull on any reserves. I've just got to go to bed and go to sleep. In fact, I've got to lay down at lunchtime every single day. And I've got to recuperate because my nervous system is damaged from the snake venom. The snake venom affects your central nervous system, and that's one thing is permanently damaged from the snake bite is my nervous system.
Gotcha. Okay, so a lot of people out there have a fear of snakes. It's called ophidiophobia. So I have to ask you, previously or now or after this experience, were you afraid of snakes, or are you now afraid of snakes given that one nearly took your life?
I'm not afraid of snakes, no, because I love animals. I love animals, and I just happen to be in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Yeah.
And I respect snakes. I respect all animals.
That's a fantastic message. I think a lot of people would assume if somebody was bitten by a snake and it nearly killed them that, like, snakes, this is why I don't like them. But you're right. I mean, snakes are doing an amazing thing for the planet. They are the control for all of the species that we as humans usually try to have not get into our house. All of the vermin species, the mice and different rodents.
I believe that snakes will just want to really just get out of your road. You know, they just want to get on with their life. They're not out there to kill you. They're not out there to bite you.
Now, we have a little something extra lined up today. I don't know if you were aware of this or not, but would you be comfortable? We are in the vicinity of a snake, not a rough-scaled snake, the tiger snake, the snake that is actually responsible for providing the venom that created anti-venom to save your life. Would you be up for meeting a tiger snake?
I'd like to meet it. I don't hold it.
It will be totally controlled, and if you want, you'll even be able to pet its tail.
No, I don't think.
You don't think you'll pet its tail? You might when you see how pretty the snake is.
I don't know.
We'll cross that bridge when we get to it. But you at least seeing the snake, that's a huge step. And saying that you're not afraid of snakes, most people, had they been bitten by a snake, would have immediately said, whoa, 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 hold on, you've got a snake here in the same vicinity as me. So I love that you immediately, I saw your eyes light up. You're like, no, I love snakes. I would love to see what this snake is.
Thank you.
That is going to be the next piece of this episode, getting Leela up close and personal with the very snake species whose venom ultimately saved her life.
I'm a fighter, you know.
Yeah?
I fought my way back, I reckon.
Yeah.
I'm here today because I'm a fighter.
Okay, Leela, we've got you in the room of snakes. Now, I know you're not afraid of snakes. We've already accomplished that, but the tiger snake is going to be coming out here. Lockie's going to get it onto the floor. We're back with plenty of distance. We're going to get it inside of the tube, and you'll see how that completely controls the snake's head, so it keeps us and the animal completely safe. It's always a little nerve-wracking, though, anytime one of these venomous snakes comes out of its enclosure. See that? So now that the snake is in the tube, we'll work it up just a little bit further. Okay, cool. Snake is under control. And now we're going to move a little stool in for you to sit on. Right. Are you comfortable?
Yep.
Okay, cool. Lockie, we're good? Okay. Leela, feeling okay?
Yeah?
Okay, there it is, the tiger snake. You can see why it's called the tiger snake, that beautiful tiger pattern. Now, they come in a variety of different colors. This one specifically, I would say, is extra beautiful. It kind of looks like the white Siberian tiger version.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Leela, is this your first time encountering a venomous snake since the bite incident?
Yes.
It is. Wow, that's a big step. Here we are 50 years later, and you're in the room with the very animal whose toxic venom ultimately became the thing that saved your life.
Wow.
How are you feeling right now? A little more nerve-wracking to be in a room with snakes than it is on the porch?
Fine. Totally relaxed, okay.
Yeah. Now, what are the odds, do you think, that you are able to just gently pet the snake's back? Do you think you could do that?
The back.
The back of it.
What about the tail?
You can touch the tail, yeah. You want to pet the tail?
Okay. Yep.
Pretty cool, huh?
Yeah.
Ooh, yeah, but nothing can hurt you. See how the snake's head, obviously completely contained inside of that tube. And this is a rather secretive snake species, so unless you're in the right place at the right time to see this snake, which as a team we are often looking to do, but for anybody out there wanting to avoid snakes, there's a good chance you'd be able to avoid this one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and when applicable, milking the venom from this species is what is saving people that are bitten. So it's pretty cool that this snake and the science that's being done to save lives comes from such a cool animal. Do you want to touch it on the back there? Beyond the tail, or we're working beyond the tail at this point? Pretty smooth, huh?
Yeah.
A lot of people think that snakes are slimy. They certainly are not. The scales are very dry, very sleek, and very powerful. You can see how it's just slowly inching itself forward in the tube, and I'm gonna let it come up just a little bit more like this, and I'm gonna let the head just peek out a tiny bit so the Mario can get that shot, but don't worry, you're still gonna be completely safe. There we go. Look at that, pretty cool to see. See that?
Oh,
Look at that. He's like, I want to just keep going. So,
Just don't point it this way. Oh
look
my
at that.
God.
He yawned right at you.
Oh, no.
That was basically him saying,
Oh
hey,
no, I'm starting to feel a bit nervous
Leland,
now.
Leland,
Oh no,
nice to meet you. Nice to
I'm
meet
starting to
you.
feel a little bit nervous
A
now.
little bit nervous now?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I think at this point, what I would love to do is show you the proper treatment for a snake bite.
Yes, this is like a good idea.
Probably a good idea to get it back into its enclosure
Yeah,
at
I
this
think
point.
so, yeah.
All right, I'm gonna hand the tiger. Everybody back up just a little bit there. Tiger's coming back over to Lockie. Let me know when you're comfortable. Good. Okay, got it. And there we have it.
I patted it.
You did. You did. That's
I even
such a
patted
huge
its
step.
back. I patted its
You
back.
patted it, yeah, you see, and up
I
there you were
believe I
like,
did
no, I'm
that.
not gonna be able to pat it. But then you saw, you realized, oh, it's not that scary. Can I give you a hug? I'm so proud of you. That was amazing.
Several years ago, we released an episode titled Bizarre Creatures of Texas, where we found and featured a colorful mix of species, including a brilliantly blue ribbon snake, a feisty little musk turtle, and a truly alien-looking fish known as a spotted gar. Wow, this fish certainly is prehistoric looking. We have returned to the scene of this wildly successful adventure with a new curiosity. Can we discover an equally compelling list of stranger things a second time around? This prehistoric-looking cypress swamp is cloaked with shallow, dark waters, making it the perfect nursery for prey species to develop and predators in training to hone in on their ability to hunt. But under the light of day, the hunting fields seem to be eerily quiet. The reason for this is that the midsummer months in East Texas can reach sweltering temperatures, so the best time to witness creatures displaying predatory behavior is at night. What's going on, guys? It's a sweltering night here in East Texas, which means the conditions are absolutely perfect for nocturnal creatures to be on the hunt. If you guys are ready, let's get the adventure started and see what we can find. There's a lot of glowing eyeballs out there. It's really tough to tell what they are. There's no way to catch that frog. That is a classic Texas bullfrog right there. It is nestled down up against the edge of the water, surrounded by thorn plants. You want to talk about a good home security system? This frog's got it figured out. And they're smart too. That's how this frog has managed to survive to grow to such an epic proportion. And a frog of that size doesn't have many predators. In fact, that is one of the predators in this environment. Look at that, that's pretty cool. You see that anole's just gently sleeping now. Oh, he's awake now. Got him. Hi, buddy, how are you? I know, I'm sorry, you're very grumpy that we woke you up. Whoa, this is crazy. This lizard has a mutation in its tail. Look at that, it's growing an extra piece to its tail. I bet you at some point in time, the tip of its tail was injured, maybe by a predator, and it broke off there, and then the tail continued to grow. A two-tailed green anole. How cool is that? All right, buddy, we're gonna place you right back up on your leaf, let you keep sleeping. We're gonna try to find something a little bit bigger and a little more challenging to catch.
Nice.
Look at that. Absolutely love this species. I'm at a slightly awkward angle here inside a patch of thorns, and where there's one snake, there could be others, and there could be others that are venomous. So I think we want to move up here into a slightly more controlled situation and take a better look at the banded water snake. Fantastic, good spotting, Trent. Now, when it comes to water snakes, my first intuition is that, okay, prepare because you're likely going to be struck at. And water snakes have a tendency to be rather bitey, despite the fact that they're non-venomous. You don't necessarily need to worry about that bite, but this snake is about as calm as it gets. Now, the thing that makes the banded water snake so unique is that beautiful banding that runs down the length of its body. And it looks as if the snake may have just recently shed its skin because it is velvety smooth to the touch. Absolutely beautiful. Now, this snake, unfortunately, is oftentimes misidentified for the venomous water moccasin or a copperhead. Obviously, the banding makes it look very much like its venomous counterparts, but this is a snake that you have no reason to fear whatsoever. Such a super cool snake. Now, one thing that I love about this snake is look at the underbelly. Look at that design. How beautiful. Now, as compared to the Lake Erie water snake or the northern water snake, two species that I'm very familiar with, these are much more vibrant, and the decoration in their patterning is something that you never forget if you are somebody that truly appreciates snakes. All right, we're gonna place this guy right back down into the underbrush so he can continue hunting. We're gonna see if we can find something a little more dangerous. I'm gonna approach this one very slowly. That is a massive fishing spider. And just for scale, I'm gonna put my hand relatively close to it in hopes that it doesn't leap towards my hand and inflict a bite. That's actually the, oh, that made me jump. That's actually the female. The male's a little bit further down. The females are much larger than the males, and that may very well be the largest fishing spider I have ever seen. She probably lives back up underneath this piece of bark. Let me see if I can gently coax her back out into the middle of the tree here, just a bit. There we go. Look at that. Now, even at this size, this spider is so lightweight that it is capable of running across the surface of water. Really try to think about that. A spider that is that big, that is capable of running on water. If you had arachnophobia because of normal spiders, the fishing spider definitely is capable of giving some people nightmares. But the good news is that the venom that this spider possesses is only powerful enough to kill small fish, maybe some tadpoles, maybe a baby frog at the biggest. So not necessarily an arachnid you should be terrified of. Tell you what though, being this close definitely gives me the EBGBs. All right, let's keep moving. Look at this. Some very interesting species. Little freshwater crayfish. Very cool looking. Look at all the red spots on its front claws. And I have a feeling that based on the skinniness of those pinchers, it doesn't have the most powerful pinch, but let's go ahead and experiment with that and find out for ourselves. Let's see here. Ooh, 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 okay. Very pointy, but not a ton of pressure. That one on the bottom there is actually pretty painful. Feels like a pinprick. You wanna let go? Or are you just gonna hold on like that? Okay, I'm gonna very slowly. There we go. Well, it's got a noticeable pinch, but not anything that's gonna cause any damage. But to the small little prey items that this crayfish is feasting after, running into those pinchers is definitely what would be considered a very, very bad night. And I'm gonna place this little crustacean right back down into its hunting pool. We're gonna see what else we can find. Whoa, hold on, careful, you're like in it. You're up against it. I am less than 1 foot from having walked straight into this massive orb weaver's web. Wow, the golden nature to this web may be the most elaborate that I have ever seen of its type. And the female at the center of this amazing artistic orchestration is about as big as they get here in Texas. Wow. Now, as a human, if I had taken another step forward looking down at my feet, this would have completely encapsulated my entire head, and that spider would have been right almost on my face. Now, the good thing about this spider species is they very seldom bite, and even if you are bitten, the venom is very non-toxic if you are a human. But a spider of that size on your body, oh, it will make your skin crawl like there is no tomorrow. And there are multiple males hanging out in this web, all hoping that they get the chance to breed with this true queen of the Texas night. Wow. And any flying insect that ends up in this golden structure is doomed without question. Oh, look at this, she caught something. A little damselfly. Oh, buddy, it's over for you, I'm sorry. Oh, here she goes. A small meal, but a meal nonetheless. Look at that. I mean, she's just not wasting any time. She's just consuming that damselfly straight away. Wow. Look at the way that her little tiny hooks on the front of her leg just allow her to easily move across that webbing. Wow. I'm gonna just go ahead and duck underneath the clearance of this and come on this side. Woo, buddy. That is one magical web right there. Watch yourselves coming through here. There's a big golden strand coming right across in front of you. That is impressive. There's a pretty good sized fish swimming around out here. That might be a largemouth bass. I got him! I broke the net, but I got him. How about that? I just caught a largemouth bass. Broke the net in the process, but got the bass. We gotta look at it really quickly because the fish like this cannot stay out of water for too much time. Wow, that is beautiful largemouth bass. A largemouth bass gets its name because of this very large mouth. They're capable of essentially just engulfing their prey with one big gulp. They suck the water and the prey into their mouth, and at night like this, these fish will come into the shallows and feast upon other small fish. Wow. Now this is what you would consider, I would say, a medium-sized largemouth. They get quite a bit bigger than that, but it's not every day that you manage to net up a fish of this design. They are incredibly fast, predatory, and definitely out in full force under the cover of night to try and get their prey. You guys said you wanted more fish on the Brave Wilderness channel, and we are delivering this year. All right, I gotta get this guy right back off and into the water. Got him! Yeah! We got a catfish. This is crazy. This is totally the night of the fish. So that, I believe, is a juvenile flathead catfish. And the way you can tell the difference between these catfish species is actually the tail fin. The blue catfish and the channel catfish have a V-shaped tail, and the flathead cat has a more square or sort of rounded tail fin. So, whoa, gotta be careful handling it. I believe, and it's kind of tough to tell when they're juveniles, I believe this then is a flathead catfish. Now, they do have rather prominent spines on their pectoral and dorsal fin, so I do have to be careful that I'm not barbed in the process of holding this fish. But up front there, the thing that makes catfish so cool
are those whiskers, or barbels as they're more scientifically known. Those are used to detect the environment, picking up chemicals. They are able to investigate the environment as they move throughout it, helps them detect predators and also search for their prey. And they have rather poor eyesight, so in a shallow pool of water like this, they will rely on camouflage to stay hidden from predators. But in its own right, this catfish is a young predator in the making. Now, the reason these smaller catfish are in a more secluded body of water like this is you can actually consider it a bit of a nursery where the smaller fish learn how to hunt and can stay away from the larger predators like alligators. I gotta be honest, I am never disappointed anytime we can manage to get a fish up close for the cameras. The last time I was hands-on with a catfish, it was over 50 pounds. But even seeing one of this size always gets me excited because catfish are one of the coolest fish species here in the United States. Well, I would definitely say it was a rather successful adventure out here tonight into the swamps of Texas. We came across a variety of species, including the largemouth bass and a little juvenile flathead catfish. All right, little catfish, back off into the nursery you go.
Nocturnal adventures always seem to result in an exciting series of animal encounters. Cooler temperatures, plus the cover of darkness, and consistent activity from prey species always seems to be a good equation for finding strange predators in the swamps of East Texas. If you head out on a scavenger hunt in search of some stranger things, always bring a flashlight and only interact with animals that you can properly identify as being non-venomous.
Okay, ready to go again? And action.
Over the years, we have milked venom from all of the world's most dangerous snakes. And if you've been following along with these crazy escapades, then you know that we have strategically skipped over one of the most terrifying species, the mamba.
We are back in DeLand, Florida, at the Reptile Discovery Center. And as always, we'll be working with America's favorite snake expert. Look at Carl back there getting warmed up for a morning filled with fresh snake milk.
In the world of venomous reptiles, there's nothing more terrifying than an angry mamba. They're fast, strong, intelligent, calculated, and armed with a highly neurotoxic venom that if it enters your bloodstream is a guaranteed death sentence. Now here's something crazy. Carl has been bitten not once, but 3 times by these snakes, which makes today's venom milking episode the most dangerous one that we've ever produced. Hey!
Hey, Coyote, how you doing, man?
I'm good, Carl. How are you?
Welcome, welcome. Good to see you guys.
Thank you. We are back, and we are here to milk mambas. Let's talk mambas for a second, because generally people know there's the black mamba.
Yeah.
They know there's the green mamba, but in total, how many mamba species are there?
Yeah, so we really just say 4 species. 3 species of greens, and then of course the infamous black mamba. They are all African snakes. They're kind of distributed in different places through sub-Saharan Africa. Although interesting, the black mamba has the largest range of the 4 different snakes.
And the black mamba, as everybody out there watching knows, is so revered throughout its range. I mean, it's the snake that truly terrifies people. I would say of any snake on the planet, we hear that people are more afraid of black mambas when we're traveling, mostly than any other snake. What makes a mamba so dangerous?
Yeah, you're gonna see a little bit of it today. Black mambas, of course, get big, you know, almost 12 feet. That's an enormous venomous snake to begin with. They're terrifically toxic. Years ago, they would say before the advent of antivenom, the black mamba was 100% fatal in a bite. That's probably not entirely true, but no doubt. He's a hypertoxic, very large, very active elapid. So even though mambas are in fact shy, nervous, retiring snakes, when people are forced to interact with one or inadvertently step on one or have cornered one, they become a formidable adversary and a really challenging snake.
Okay, now the word that you said in there was nervous. And I can completely identify with the nervous nature of a mamba, having worked with one in the wild. We did work with a black mamba in the wild in South Africa.
That's magnificent.
And they keep you on edge for sure. And it's that nervousness that's very calculated at the same time. So in your opinion, when we're talking one being more dangerous than the other, green versus black, which one ranks as a more dangerous snake?
Well, as a more dangerous snake to handle, certainly the black mamba.
Okay.
And then more dangerous in general, again, the black mamba. He's capable of a large venom yield, a terrifically toxic venom. They're a challenge to handle, as you say, somewhat calculated and deliberate, and terribly unforgiving of a mistake. So we were doing lots of mamba venom in the late 90s and early 2000s. I have been bitten by 3 of the 4 species of mambas. That's very embarrassing.
Okay, so let's talk about being bitten by the green mamba for a second first.
So the green mamba was actually my second mamba bite, and because of the work we do with snake venom, I have become hypersensitive, allergic to snake venom. Like you would be to bee venom, it makes my work a little trickier. We have a terrific, what we call anaphylactic event. We tend to treat that on the way to the hospital, meet the emergency services people. They get an airway for me, get me going, and then into the hospital for antivenom. But by the time I was in the hospital bed, so now we're talking 20, 30 minutes post-bite, I was getting sick. I was having blurred vision, I was salivating, I couldn't get a kind of a swallowing thing happening, and so we were already starting to experience some neurotoxicity and this kind of thing. The tissue involvement and the blood formations happened later over the course of the next 2 days.
So do you have mamba antivenom here on site if the worst case scenario were to happen and heaven forbid you were to be bitten?
Absolutely. So we've got a number of different mamba antivenoms on site.
Now, my heart is going faster than normal. We're in a tight enclosed room. There's lots of venomous snakes. You're telling me this story about having been bitten by the snake species. I know the demeanor of these creatures. Do you at all get nervous in working with any of these, especially something like the mamba coming out today? Any sense of like heightened anxiety?
No, but I get hyper-focused.
Okay.
You know, the whole thing that allows us to do our job is we don't fear the snakes, we understand them, but we certainly understand what's in play and the gravity of a snake bite. It's not something we take lightly.
Yep.
We haven't had a snake bite in 16 years. We've been safe for a very long time. We're going to continue that safety record today. Moving, coming towards you, Mario.
Whoa. Wow, it's beautiful.
They really are spectacular, aren't they?
Pressure.
Don't change anything. Good.
Whoa.
Tell me when everybody's good.
I'm good, Mario. You good?
So this is the milking moment right here, and smaller things, obviously, so you don't worry about them necessarily catching a finger, right?
So as elapids go, mambas have pretty long fangs, especially blacks. And remember, greens are often arboreal. They're almost strictly arboreal. And so these guys are often feeding on little birds and that kind of thing. And so those longer fangs help them. So we're going to bring him through. There he goes. You saw that first little shot.
Yeah.
Again,
Oh.
another. And another. Give him 1 second. We'll see if he'll bite one more time for us. So
That was crazy how it shot out of the fangs, more than just a drip. It was like, boom.
yeah, you see this beautiful little chut, chut, chut. You know, again, they'll give you 3 or 4 shots. And let's see if she'll go one more time here. And that's about it.
I saw a little bit on the backside there.
So that's a good yield for that snake. We typically plan on about 50 milligrams for a green. My guess is that's actually quite a bit more than that. And as I said, a beautiful, slender, arboreal snake. And as a lapid go, these guys are really great snakes. I mean, that's really a beautiful, spectacular animal. We'll go back in.
is.
Everybody's good?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. The way the venom shot out was much different than we've seen from some other elapids. I mean, once that venom goes in, guaranteed death sentence without antivenom. That went pretty smoothly, I'd say, right?
Good, right?
Yeah. Okay, let's get this venom secure. We're gonna come back to that at the end of the episode. And we're gonna tell you guys how many humans Carl estimates that yield would be able to kill. But first, we gotta talk black mambas.
Yeah, Coyote. So the black mamba becomes kind of a formidable snake as soon as you decide that you're going to interact with them.
Yeah, this snake, like as soon as we had the flashlight on, it knew, okay, I've been spotted, and as soon as we started moving stuff, it was like, get me out of here. It wanted to get away.
Yeah, right. Well, there you go. So they're always looking for an out. They're thinking, I got to get out of here. Rightly so, right? They're dealing with this So the thing with black mambas is they're somewhat unpredictable, particularly when they're restrained. And so we never entirely know how that's going to go in terms of how much trouble we're going to have actually just getting a hold of him safely. And when I say safely, that's both for us and for him.
Yep.
Or we're really concerned about making sure our animals are not hurt in the process and that they're handled properly and gently, but within reason, because we really are paying attention to what's happening here. And as you said, the idea of working an 8-foot elapid in this area that's unhappy.
It's intense. We did King Cobra here a couple years ago, and that got intense real quickly.
Don't worry about the camera.
But this is compounded because not only is it a calculated, highly toxic snake, but this is another species that you were bitten by, and you are very much allergic to the black mamba venom as well.
Right, so a black mamba bite was the first mamba bite I had, a big 9-foot male, way back in 1997.
How did that happen?
And we had actually collected the snake's venom, and I was returning the snake to the cage, and we were somewhat new to black mambas. We had only been handling them for about a year at that point, and I was still gaining my understanding there of those guys. And as I was going back into his cage, I had his coils kind of grouped in this hand, and I got his head too close. I went and he struck onto that finger.
And they're strong, so he was able to just use the momentum and the power of his body.
Exactly, and I didn't foresee it. You know, he saw that thing. We always used to say years ago when we were doing a lot of mambas, mambas are terribly unforgiving of a mistake.
Yes.
They're really aware of their distances. They're really aware of where you are. And so the big thing there is, right, you're never close enough. You're never in striking range. And of course, I thought I was controlling the snake's head, but I wasn't adequately controlling his head, and so back into this. So that was it, and we got some pretty good venom on that bite, and things began to happen very rapidly. At that point, I was not allergic to mamba venom, so it was a straight black mamba bite, and we were really able to document some amazing symptoms. But black mambas, again, heavily neurotoxic. Things began happening really rapidly. I was vomiting, blurred vision, convulsions. I was having a bronchospasm. So we had some really serious symptoms. One of the good things about black mamba venom is it neutralizes well. So once you're getting antivenom, I can remember when they started the antivenom wide open, I could almost feel this sensation of, oh, okay, now we're moving in a better direction than we were. So after 2 days of intensive care, things got good very rapidly. And there's almost no local issues with mamba venoms, or at least black mamba venom.
Right.
So we don't see any tissue involvement or big hemolytic factors or hemorrhaging, none of that stuff like you would be in a rattlesnake or a viper bite. So blacks are kind of purely neurotoxic, both post and presynaptic, but that thing can really get going fast.
Okay, so care is of the utmost importance today, and a couple of years ago when we milked the king cobra, you had this amazing grab of the snake after it was just so rambunctious, and I said,
Whoa, look at the speed. Carl is faster than the cobra.
we know 1 point Carl was not faster than the mamba, so hopefully today I can say Carl is faster than the mamba.
Carl is getting slower.
So let's get out the black mamba. Mara's gonna pop back in and help you wrangle the snake. We'll get into position. This is as intense as it's going to get today, guys, when it comes from a danger level situation. The black mamba coming out, we've got to be extremely careful. So Carl, we're under your command. You let us know where we need to be, and let's make sure everybody's safe.
Okay, great. Is everybody good?
Everyone's rolling. You are
All
ready
good?
to go.
I'm hoping he's going to be in a good mood today. So we'll see.
Oh my gosh, that's a big snake. He's a monster. Woo!
I'm right in. Whoa, there, baby. Nice. Okay. Babe, good. Want to get him there? You have him? Okay. Hold on 1 second. Yep, all set. Everybody's set. You can be wherever you want to be.
Okay.
Get that, put that over there.
See, this is what I experienced. They coil up and they're so strong. That's one thing that I did not anticipate with the black mamba, is its ability to coil around you. And when I was presenting the snake on camera, the only thing I was thinking is that if I lost control of the snake, and remember, we had it in a tube, so I felt much more in control than you are now. If you lost control, that snake would be latched to you.
100%. And as you said, if he's wrapped up around you, getting rid of him presents a very real issue. So it's one of the reasons we stopped going back into the cage and we started just going into a transfer camp.
Okay.
So you can see he's ready to bite. He never fully understands this restraint thing. Is everybody good for him to bite?
Yeah.
Very good.
Everybody's good?
Yep.
There he goes again. Wicked
Wow,
shot right
so
there.
fast.
Wicked shot. Good. Another shot.
Look at that, just the bite and release. And it can control how much venom it's giving, correct?
Totally metering what it's giving me, absolutely. We think that process is largely cognitive, and he's deciding, I'm gonna give you this, I'm gonna give you this. And Mambas, again, especially blacks and westies, really famous for these shots at a time, a little bit. We'll get him again in 1 second. Are you good?
It is the intensity that the venom shoots out that you can understand how quickly then that gets into your body.
It's a millisecond, right? It's a millisecond. With blacks, I can remember on my bite, moving to the sink to wash my hands, you always take a minute to decide if the bite is actually hot. And all of a sudden, my lips start going numb, my face is tingling. I was maybe 20 seconds into that snake bite, and I remember thinking, here we go.
And hot means you've got venom in your body, correct?
We've definitely got a hot bite, right? So one more shot. Perfect.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that was even a decent amount of venom right there.
Yeah, so that's really a good yield. We're probably looking at 150 megs there,
Okay.
which is about what we like for an adult black, about there. And he really did a good job today.
All right, I'm gonna just back up out of the way a tiny bit there. So
Perfect. So Mara, you're gonna go back to your grab stick. Yeah, good. And then will you do me a favor? See that garbage can right next to you, Coyote?
This one.
Take all that stuff off it, yep. And you're just gonna put it down there by Mara. Awesome, great.
lid off the top.
Yep,
Please.
perfect.
Okay, so I'm pressure now.
Yep, and you've got him.
I've got him.
Good, now hold on 1 second, good. I'm gonna let him go. I've got him, thanks, buddy.
Okay, I'm letting go.
Yep, good now. That's a lot of snake. Hold on. Yep, hold on. Thanks, Coyote.
And that's where I say, Carl is faster than the Mamba. Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo! That was intense. The snakes are back in their enclosures, so we feel a little bit safer at this point. But we've still got two very toxic cocktails in front of us, the green mamba venom, the black mamba venom. And Carl, this is the part of the episode where we add up the number of what I like to call tombstones in regard to snake venom yield. Talk to us about these yields, and then we would love to hear your estimate as to how many humans this yield plus this yield would be capable of killing. So let's talk about this one and then that one, and then we'll add them up.
Okay, Coyote, so when people talk about dangerous snakes, there are really two parts to that, maybe three parts to that equation. One part to that equation is venom toxicity. So we know that mambas really rank up in the upper toxicities of snake venoms, right? So as the lapids, cobras, and mambas, and all these snakes go, coral snakes, mambas are right up there. The next part of the danger equation is venom yield. And this has to do with how much venom does a snake put out in an average snake bite. And so we're going to talk about mamba venoms here, the East African green and the black. The East African green yield is about 50 milligrams of venom on an average yield. Now remember, we had that snake bite multiple times.
And it's got a pretty low viscosity.
This does. So some mamba venoms tend to be pretty light, pretty almost watery, whereas lots of our cobra venoms, this kind of thing, tend to be really viscous. King cobra venom is almost like maple syrup. All of that plays a role in how the venom spreads in the body. But so in the green mamba yield, now remember, he bit 2 or 3 times on this thing. We wind up with about 50 milligrams of venom. And we think that a guesstimate on green mamba lethal dose is probably somewhere in the neighborhood of 10 or 15 milligrams of venom.
Wow.
So this would be probably in the neighborhood of 3-4 lethal doses of venom, something like that.
Okay. 4 tombstones off of the green mamba bite. Now black mamba, bigger snake,
Whole different
bigger
picture.
yield.
Sure. and a greater toxicity. So black mamba venom, we think probably somewhere, a lethal dose, probably somewhere between 5 and 10 milligrams. To give you a sense of that, that would be like 5 or 10 grains of salt in your hand. That's a lethal dose of black mamba venom. Again, we had that snake bite more than once. He gave us about 2 or 3 shots in here, but we're looking at about 200 milligrams in that draw right there. So of those shots, we were looking at probably 50 milligrams, 60 milligrams, this kind of thing. We wound up with a total yield of about 200 milligrams. So in the case of black mamba venom, if we were to say, well, 10 milligrams is lethal, and I think that's probably high, we would be looking at 20 lethal doses of venom here. So, and if we cut that in half, 40 lethal doses of venom. And again, we were talking about danger and yield being a part of that. So a big king cobra might give you 1,200 milligrams of venom for maybe 60 lethal doses.
Okay.
So even though quite a bit less toxic than the black mamba, the king cobra, or at least less toxic, huge amounts of venom. Or an eastern diamondback, where you might get 10 lethal doses of venom in one shot, because it's way less toxic, but lots more venom. Does that make sense?
Makes complete sense. So it has to do with the level of toxicity, the yield, and I imagine the last part then becomes the snake's proximity to humans and how often you may or may not encounter that snake based on where it is that you live. So what we're ultimately able to surmise here is that a mamba bite is a guaranteed death sentence without antivenom regardless. It doesn't matter if it's going to kill 4 people or 20 people, you are one single individual person. And if you were bitten by either of these snakes, it's a medical emergency.
No question, a medical emergency, and potentially, depending on how much venom he injected, lethal. Yes, absolutely.
So what happens with this venom now that we've milked it? Where does this go specifically?
So the venom here will be filtered, it'll be cleaned up a little bit, it'll be frozen, and then it'll be freeze-dried into a powder form, into a powder substance. And once we have it in that freeze-dried form, it can be stored for literally decades. All of our mamba venom is going to research applications. We are not producing these venoms particularly for antivenoms. Some of the labs around the world are producing venom specifically for mamba antivenom. We don't do that here. Our mamba venoms are produced for research, and a good part of it is in the United States or Europe.
Right. And when it comes to antivenom and its availability based on where you live, so here in the United States, the snakes we can come across, antivenom is produced that specifically can help people if they are bitten by those species local to them. But in a country like South Africa, where you've got a lot of these snakes, depending on where you live, could be a big difference as to whether or not you can even get antivenom, correct?
Yeah, you know, I think the African continent is really a good place to think about the disparity in snakebite treatment worldwide. So we still see tens of thousands of deaths from snakebite in places like sub-Saharan Africa, in places like Southeast Asia, in parts of Central America and South America, where medical care may be days away. And in fact, when the individual gets to where they're going, there may not even be antivenoms available.
So it's not even guaranteed that if you were in Africa and you were bitten by mamba, that if the medical facility you got to may not even have mamba antivenom.
It may not even have mamba antivenom, and the medical facility may in fact be 2 days away from where you are out in the bush working with animals or whatever it is you're doing out there, agriculture.
Proximity is
key.
Everything.
In you know, developed countries, we have an incredible luxury in access to medical care and access to antivenom in snakebite.
Well, Carl, the work that's being done around the world, specifically the things that you and Mara are doing here to milk snakes and then ultimately have that venom be produced into antivenom, is saving lives on a daily basis. Thousands of lives every single year. So thank you for all the continued work that you're doing.
Thank you,
Thanks
sir.
again, as always, for having us out here to the Reptile Discovery Center. Getting to milk the mambas today was certainly the top level of venomous snakes that we could have done a venom episode.
Glad you guys enjoyed it.
Snakebites seriously injure or kill over 600,000 people worldwide every year. How crazy is that? And Carl told us about this amazing group, the Asclepius Snakebite Foundation, a nonprofit that is dedicated to reversing the tragic cycle of snakebite outcomes through innovative research, medicine, and public health initiatives. Believe it or not, snakebite is a global health crisis. And if you want to help, check out their website, because every donation helps them save lives.
This summer, in the scorching deserts of the Southwest, something strange has happened. Science experts believe it may be a radioactive anomaly.
What we have here is a radioactive anomaly.
To be honest, no one really knows why normal-sized lizards have now turned into city-destroying monsters.
What's going on, Coyote Pack? It's a dark, windy night in Arizona. And this evening, we're going to take a look at two of the coolest lizards in the Southwest. The Gila monster
And the beaded lizard.
which happen to be the only two venomous lizards in the Western Hemisphere. Our goal this evening is to take a look at some of the similarities and, of course, some of the differences, and then ultimately at the end decide, are you Team Gila?
Or are you team beaded?
I don't know. We'll have to see how this all pans out. Now, Mario, to get started, it's important to note that neither of these animals were found in the wild.
That's right.
Both the Gila and the Beaded were born and raised in captivity, and they are ambassadors for their species, and we are very excited to have them here hanging out with us tonight for this little educational session in venomous desert lizards.
Which means these guys are fairly tame, actually. That's why we are able to handle them the way we are. Because, of course, they are venomous.
Right.
Right.
Have to be careful, not gonna get our fingers too close to those mouths. You don't wanna take an accidental bite. That would be very painful, but we'll get to some of that in a second. I think where it all begins with these two cool lizards is in the name.
It's all in the name, right? So the Gila monster and the beaded lizard both belong to the genus Heloderma, which means studded skin.
That's right. I'm gonna go ahead and turn my lizard sideways here, and all of those little bumps that you see running down the length of each lizard's body are osteoderms.
That's right.
Little pieces of bone covered in skin and scale, which of course makes them look beaded or armored.
Right, and hence the name beaded lizard, right? All those little osteoderms look like little tiny beadwork. So the people in the range of these animals saw that and said beaded lizard.
Right, and pretty much looks like armor coating. Now, when you look at these two lizards and you realize that they are related, and they actually are buddies, they live together in captivity, which is kind of cool. So they're very friendly. You guys don't have to worry about them possibly getting into a fight with one another. There is another really interesting and obvious difference between the two of these lizards.
Yes.
And of course, that's size.
That's right. I mean, look at the size of this beaded lizard compared to the Gila monster.
Let's try to turn them sideways real quick so that everybody can just see
Look at
that difference.
That's significant.
Right.
Right? Now, you're used to seeing the Gila monster on some Brave Wilderness episodes, but we've never featured the beaded lizard. And a really cool fact is, even though the beaded lizard is larger, they can get up to 3 feet in length, so this one has a little bit more growing to do. The Gila monster is technically the largest native species, lizard species in the United States.
Right, and for a Gila monster, this is pretty much considered full grown. They can get a little bit bigger than this, but when you think about this as being a full grown Gila and that being nearly a full grown beaded lizard, that is a huge difference.
Yeah, I think the beaded gets a very big point in size.
I would agree. The beaded lizard, when it comes to size mattering, it might make a difference when it comes to hunting for your prey. Now, one thing you'll also notice is the length of the tail.
Oh, yes.
The tail has some differences, but also some similarities. Let's try to see if we can get those side by side.
Look at that. The tail of the beaded is significantly longer. The Gila monster has a little bit more of a short and stout tail. Now, they both serve a similar function and they store fat in their tails. So if you were to give a squeeze to your Gila's tail,
It's
as I'm
chubby.
doing to the beaded, right? That's all a fat reserve. So a healthy Gila and beaded lizard will have a nice fat reserve in their tail.
Now, the reason for them keeping these fat reserves in their tails is that in the desert environment, sometimes if there's a prolonged drought and these lizards need to stay down in their burrows for months at a time, they can survive off of the nutrients that exist within that fat reserve in the tail.
Exactly, because both the Gila monster and the beaded lizard live in arid environments. In fact, the beaded lizard is found in Mexico down to Guatemala, whereas the Gila monster overlaps in certain ranges as the beaded lizard, but of course found in parts of the US.
Right, and it's important to note that the Gila monster is the only venomous lizard in the United States, and combined together, these are the only two venomous lizards in the Western Hemisphere.
That's right. That's
Pretty
right.
cool. Now, another similarity that these two lizards share, and you can probably notice that forked tongue sticking out back and forth, is of course that tongue structure.
Yep, the forked tongue is a extrasensory organ. It's a chemoreceptor. So if you were to look at the eyes of the Gila and the Beaded, are they big?
No, they're pretty small.
Pretty tiny. Yeah, they don't have good vision. So they actually rely on their forked tongue, their excellent sense of hearing, and sense of smell to detect prey and predators. And that leads to a very good question. What do Gila monsters and Beadeds eat?
Well, it's important to note that they're very slow moving, so they're not exactly gonna chase down a jackrabbit or a roadrunner.
Check this out, Ready? That's about top speed.
Yeah.
They're not fast.
Slow moving. It's like a tortoise for the most part, which means they're opportunistic. The easier the meal that they can consume, the better it's going to be for the lizard. So they're famous for being able to rob bird nests of their eggs or their young. Where else might you find young animals?
Right, so they're nest specialists. Now, one thing to consider is ground nesting birds, right? They're not going up into the trees and raiding a nest, although the Beadeds are semi-arboreal, so sometimes they do. But primarily stuff that's on the ground, like little rodents and such that are gonna make their nest in burrows. They'll go in there and they'll actually raid the nest.
So when you think about the fact that these guys are opportunistic and they'll take the easiest meal possible, they're venomous. How is that venom necessarily working to consume their prey if they don't have to slow something down like the bite of a rattlesnake?
Great question, right? Most snakes will utilize their venom to dispatch their prey items, but it is believed that Gila monsters and beaded lizards use their venom primarily as defense, right? So because they're slow moving, they're subject to predation themselves from coyotes, bobcats, and such, so they have to defend themselves with that venom.
Right, and it's very important to note that the venom glands in both the Gila monster and the beaded lizard are in the lower jaw. It's not like a rattlesnake that's got a venom gland up on the roof of its head with hinged fangs. These guys have fixed teeth. They're very sharp, turned backwards, and when this animal bites and grabs onto something, it essentially has to chew in the venom, which works up through its teeth, grooves in the teeth, and then mixes into the saliva. Now, given the fact that both of these lizards are venomous, I'm sure one burning question you all have is which bite is more painful, the Gila monster or the beaded lizard?
Well, you've experienced the Gila monster bite, so do you want to explain a little bit of how that felt?
Sure, yeah, the Gila monster bite, which was an accidental bite, I must add, was one of the most painful and excruciating experiences I have ever been through. My finger was in the mouth of the Gila monster for probably less than a second, and still I was envenomated, and the pain lasts for nearly 8 hours. So when it comes to the venom compounds, the makeup of that venom, Mario, which venom would you say is more potent?
Well, I'm not gonna get bitten by the beaded, so...
Good, we're not doing any bites in this episode.
So I'm not gonna necessarily compare side by side, but they're both in the same genus, Hyloderma, which means that their venom components are gonna be practically identical. But because of the size of the beaded, I think it might deliver more venom, and the mechanical bite itself might be stronger.
Okay, so we're going to give the beaded lizard the point for the more impactful and possibly painful bite based on size and venom yield.
I think so.
And I have to give you guys the warning, if you see one of these lizards in the wild, whether it's a Gila monster or a beaded lizard, admire it from a safe distance. I learned the hard way. They may look slow, but if they need to move quickly, trust me, they can spin their bodies around in the blink of an eye, and if you get your finger, your toe, your hand, anything stuck in the jaws of this lizard, it is going to be a very painful experience.
And it's also important to note that these animals are extremely rare, and they are a protected species. You cannot handle, harass, kill a Gila monster or beaded in any part of their range because they are protected species. So the chances of encountering a Gila monster or a beaded lizard are rare. And if you do, celebrate it, right? Take a picture from a safe distance, leave it alone, and you're fine.
Now, given the fact that these lizards are slow-moving and monstrous in their own right, I could only imagine what would it be like if we were capable of shrinking down to the size of a prey item and to be in the environment, running through the Southwest, getting chased by a Gila monster or a beaded lizard. I wonder what that would be like.
This summer, in the scorching deserts of the Southwest, something strange has happened. Science experts believe it may be a radioactive anomaly.
What we have here is a radioactive anomaly.
A few credible sources point a finger at Mars, and some even think aliens are to blame. To be honest, no one really knows why normal-sized lizards have now turned into city-destroying monsters. In an attempt to find the answers, two fearless adventure-seeking men will embark upon the journey of a lifetime.
Step on it, Coyote!
Come here, Coyote. Running is futile.
Watch out for that rock!
Get ready to run.
Whoa, that would be crazy.
Yeah, tell me about it. And there you have it. We've learned some pretty cool things about the Gila monster and the beaded lizard, some similarities and some differences. The only two venomous lizards in the Western Hemisphere. Now it's up to you to decide. Which are you, Team Gila?
Or Team Beaded.
Write in the comment section below and tell us which one of these lizards is your favorite.
This is the closest we have been to a jaguar yet. This cat's definitely actively hunting. She's very slowly slinking through the water hyacinths and the taller grasses.
It's a beautiful morning here in the Brazilian Pantanal. Today we're heading out on the Cuiabá River. This protected habitat is known for its high concentration of jaguars, one of the world's largest cat species. I'm going to be working alongside Abby Martin. Abby is the founder and president of the Jaguar ID Project. And over the past decade, she has been cataloging these incredible cats. She's not only giving them names and collecting their stats, but she's creating a genealogy family tree. To this point, she has documented over 300 of these beautiful felines. So with any luck, we are going to see some beautiful cats, get some epic shots, and learn all about the work that Abby's doing. These big cats are the true kings and queens of this Brazilian wilderness. And the moment you catch sight of one, their mystique captures you in a way that never lets go.
This is the closest we have been to a jaguar yet. We've got two of them right down at the water drinking. Wow, beautiful. Probably never gets old seeing jaguars, does it?
She's getting up.
Over the past quarter century, the northern Pantanal specifically has become famous for its high concentration of jaguars.
Not too many people know about this place. You know, it's one of the most biodiverse wetlands in the world, but like most people, you tell that you're going to the Pantanal, they don't even know about it. But you know, everyone knows about the Amazon and it's the world's lungs, but the Pantanal is kind of like a heart, it's like the beating heart. So it's super important to protect this area, and I think using the Jaguar, we can do that together.
Once upon a time, cats in this area were heavily hunted for the fur trade. Many others were killed by farmers who saw them as a threat to livestock in what is commonly known as the jaguar cattle conflict. But the good news is that this population is currently flourishing. And now, people travel from all around the world to admire, film, and photograph these cats, as local communities recognize that a living jaguar is far more valuable than a dead one.
Amazing morning so far. This is our second jaguar sighting, and right now the lighting is really nice. We actually haven't really seen jaguars on the sandbank that often.
That's a cool shot right there. Coming right up to the water's edge.
So the unique markings that I look for on Patricia is this L that kind of frames her eye there. And then on her left, right where, like about where her heart would be, there's almost a rosette pattern that looks like a heart.
So what's super cool is Patricia is Abby's favorite cat. Patricia is the logo for the Jaguar ID project. So this is so cool that we are filming the cat that is literally the symbol of the Jaguar ID project on the day that we're out here filming with Abby. How crazy is that?
That was awesome. That was the first time they've ever walked towards the camera, so we got head-on shots.
You pressed record, right?
Oh no, yeah, we did.
To capture the best cinematography of Jaguars in action, Trent and Maria spent months building, testing, and ultimately rigging a camera and gimbal system that was designed specifically to the specs of this boat. These will be our beauty shots.
Patricia is very slowly slinking through the water hyacinths and the taller grasses. Abby said she's in hunting mode, and the way you can tell is their shoulders become hunched and they stick closer to the ground, just like you might see your own cat doing as it stalks, you know, a little laser pointer in your family room. This is a much different scenario, though. This cat's looking for Caiman.
Our boat driver is saying that she wants to cross the river.
The boats have given her enough space now. Hopefully she's going to make it all the way across. These cats are incredible swimmers. The Jaguar is the most aquatic-oriented big cat on the planet. The speed at which she can move across the river is it's crazy. This cat is just zooming.
The Jaguars know these waters like the back of their paw. But as humans, to help us navigate the complex maze of rivers, we hired the top adventure outfitter, Biodiverse Brazil Tours, and their superstar boat captain.
This cat's definitely actively hunting.
She's entered the reeds now, which is, you know, where the caimans hide. So we'll see what happens in the next few minutes.
She's coming right into view. We find ourselves fixed right in the middle of a full-on Jaguar hunt.
That was an attempt right there. That was awesome. Jaguars are considered super apex predators. And aside from their grappling, retractable claws, their primary weapons of choice are kept hidden within their skull. Robust and relatively short by design, it is densely packed with muscle, providing them one of the strongest bite forces of any cat species. But their teeth, those will send chills down your spine right before they snap it. Specifically designed for penetrating the thick hide and scales of prey items like caiman, just a single bite is powerful enough to crush the back of a skull or sever the spinal column, rendering their victim completely helpless. When it comes to being an effective killer, nothing in the mammalian kingdom is more lethal than a jaguar.
Now, one way that we're able to keep an eye on the cat without physically seeing her is just watching the movement of the grasses, which are much taller than she is, and also the flight of birds, because the birds are the first alarm sign that a cat is in the area. Okay, so the Jaguars decided to forge the river. It is swimming from one embankment to the other. It's a very wide stretch. We're just giving her lots of space so we don't spook her. And she's gonna try to hunt this other shoreline where hopefully there will be some better options for food.
Oh, so close. My heart's racing. Ah. Abby, how did she miss that one?
You saw how she kind of like was trying to grab with her hands.
Yeah.
Sometimes they get a hold and then she get a hold with her mouth. And
Yeah.
You start rolling in the water, but it's escaped again.
Ah, what a close call. So Abby, we're getting into another cat's territory, Estella's, who we saw last night. Will she hunt in Estella's territory?
Yeah, she'll continue to hunt here. If Stella feels like she's gonna get too close to her kill, there could be a cat fight.
Wait a second. Estella caught a caiman last night? Yes, she did. And wouldn't you know it, we just missed it. We had been watching her sleep for several hours, but chose to go downriver to film a couple drone shots since she didn't seem very active. Then all of a sudden, a call came over the radio waves and boats began rushing to the area where we left Estella. And as we arrived, the last thing we saw was her pulling a caiman up the embankment and out of sight. Talk about frustrating.
We missed a hunting behavior. We missed a jaguar catching a caiman. We had the opportunity for the shot. We had it.
It's unfortunate, but it is what it is. We got to move on, and we'll find a way to get the shot, and that's the nature of what it is.
I imagine that these two have already encountered before, like their territories overlap. But when food's involved, it's a different story, you know, so.
We'll see what happens. Well, we lost the cat. Patricia disappeared up over a hill and deeper into the jungle, and we have not seen her for about 20 minutes now. The good news is that all of the boats are gone. We are the only boat out here now, and we got the closest we have been to filming a jaguar catching a caiman. She literally had her paw on the front of the reptile, but unfortunately it thrashed, got away, and she remains hungry, just as we remain hungry for capturing this amazing shot.
We are all so busy trying to fight for the life that we want that most of us never take the time to slow down and appreciate the very moment we are living in. The jaguar lives and dies by its daily moments. There are no opinions, no influences, no regrets for being anything other than exactly what they are: perfectly designed survival machines. Unfortunately, we never reconnected with Patricia. But 2 days after our departure from the Pontotown, our friend and wildlife photographer, Marlon DeToy, witnessed Patricia finally catching a caiman. Jaguars can sometimes go days without having a meal. It's all about being in the right place at the right time. And when it comes to filming a kill shot, the exact same philosophy applies.
What an amazing experience, getting to explore the Brazilian Pantanal for 7 straight days, filming its most celebrated apex predator, the jaguar. Big thanks to Biodiverse Brazil Tours for getting us into the environment, and a big thanks to Abby Martin and the Jaguar ID Project for making us a part of their conservation research. I'm Coyote Peterson. Be brave, stay wild. We'll see you on the next adventure.
Abby is a light of hope in the world of conservation. Her story and undying commitment to the preservation of these jaguars goes beyond the physical realm and transcends into the spiritual domain. She truly is the mother of jaguars, and her work is worthy of a standing ovation. If you want to learn more, or would consider donating to the continued protection and monitoring of this jaguar population, make sure to visit the Jaguar ID Project. And if you want to embark upon a grand adventure of your own, Biodiverse Brazil Tours will gladly get you into the realm of these iconic cats.